A very good morning, dear students. Today we shall learn a new lesson. But before we learn a new lesson, I want you to see certain pictures and try to recognize which lesson we are going to learn. Okay, see here, first picture is no one girl is looking like this. That means she has something on her hand, something is formed on her hand. Then you see the second girl, she's sneezing and keeping, that handkerchief on her mouth. Then you can see another person having a chest pain. Okay, then you can see one girl is sitting in the bed and there are a lot of marks on her face. Then here you can see a person is sneezing. Okay, and the spittle has come out from his mouth, and you can see these are nothing but a microorganism. So I hope so you have understood which lesson we are going to learn today. Yes, you are right. Today we are going to learn a new lesson called as infectious diseases and how to prevent them. Yes, it is very necessary for us to know what type of infections are there, how they can be caused, and how they can be prevented. So let's study this lesson today. Okay, now before that, can you recall? Now you see this girl. Now she has fallen down and she has got hurt. Do you think so? If anyone falls like that, okay, and get hurt, did you hear anyone saying that don't go near them or go near that person who has fallen down or got hurt? You will also get hurt. Have you heard like that? I don't think so. Suppose your father is having headache. Do you get headache because your father is suffering? No. Suppose your grandfather is always having the problem of backache. Do you get backache? Definitely not. Then when is that you are told not to go near a sick person, not to use their utensils for eating or drinking, or not to use their handkerchief and their clothes? Let's see when you are called, you are told not to go near such a sick person. Okay, now one has to take care if you find anyone coughing or sneezing like this. That means that person must be having influenza or cold, right? Common cold. Even suppose some persons are having some skin diseases like ringworm, you will not be able to go there because you might also get infected, correct? Even scabies like disease, which is nothing but a skin disease, or it might be chicken pox. I know you must have even got infected by this when you were small, right? Correct? So chicken pox is very dreadful disease. You might have seen that your friends have suffered, or you also might have suffered from this disease, right? So these are the instances, or these are the diseases when someone tells you not to go near them. So what are these diseases called as? Okay, these diseases are nothing but they are infectious diseases, and these diseases spread from one person to the other, and such diseases which spread from one person to another are also called as infectious diseases. That means if a person is suffering from one infection, even a healthy person may get this infection. It gets transferred from an infected person to another person. So such diseases are called as infectious diseases, and not the headache, not when you get hurt or your grandfather's backache. You will not be getting all these diseases because they are not infectious diseases. Fine. So today we will see what are the different types of infectious diseases, how they are spread, okay, and what are the mediums required for their spread, right? So what then these infectious diseases, what causes them? Okay, who causes these infectious diseases? Do you get this question in your mind? Of course, yes. Correct. They are caused by nothing other than no one other than microorganisms. Okay. So microorganisms are very dangerous. They cause all these diseases. Fine. And how they cause these diseases? every infectious disease is caused by a specific microorganism or a specific germ. Nowadays you are hearing about the pandemic COVID-19, right? It also has a specific microorganism called as coronavirus, right? That means every infectious disease has is caused by a specific microorganism. Like I have given you an example, which is, every day it is now these days everybody is getting scared of this disease, which is caused by a specific microorganism called as coronavirus. Even TB, if you see, it is caused by a bacterium called as Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Fine. So there are diseases. These diseases are caused by specific germs. Okay. When the germs of a particular disease enter the body, okay, suppose these germs which are causing a particular disease, they enter a healthy person's body, then what they do, they begin to grow in that person's body, and then the person gets the disease. This is how the disease is spread from one person to another, right? So I hope so you have understood this. That is, every infectious disease is caused by a specific microorganism, and when the germs of a particular disease enter the body, they begin to grow and the person will get the disease. Then how these diseases are spread? Okay, how is one person's disease passed on to another person? Okay, here this it is caused by microorganism, that you have come to know now. But and then how it is going from one person to other, that is also very important, right? So it spreads from one person to another through different types of mediums. There is a medium called as air. It may spread through air, it may spread through water, it may spread through food, or it may spread through insects, or it may even spread by direct contact with the person, physical contact with the person. That way, it can enter from one person's body into another. Here is an example wherein, a girl is sneezing, okay, and another girl is nearby her. Okay, so the girl who is sneezing has not covered her mouth. So what has happened now? All the germs have come out of her mouth, and when it comes out, it travels through air. And suppose a healthy person is there nearby. Okay, those drops of microorganisms will enter into another person's body due to breathing. When we are breathing, we take in air, so that time it may enter. Okay, or even through the mouth it may enter in our body, and then, as I have told you, they begin to grow in the body, and the disease is spreading in the body of the organism, or body of the human being. So when a person has cold, okay, this is one of the example. A person has cold, the germs from his body spread in the air when he coughs, sneezes. Fine. So that you have to remember. That is why your parents or your elderly people always tells you that when you're coughing, you need to cover your mouth with the handkerchief, or maybe your hands like this, so that the spit does not spread in the air, which may spread the microorganism in some other person's body. So you need to take care of this, right? So when these germs enter other people's body, they can also get the disease, and that is how the disease spreads. Fine. So that is why you need to take care. Like for example, there is one disease shown here of the typhoid fever. Okay, typhoid, how typhoid is spread? It is mostly spread through the contaminated water. Contaminated water means the water which has got mixed with the germs, or contaminated with the germs of typhoid. And how it can happen? It can happen, suppose if a person is suffering from typhoid, okay, defecates in the open space. Defecates means his feces, he has a habit, he or she has a habit of going near the water bodies and doing this. Then what will happen? That person's feces, the germs are there on the feces. Feces mean the stools. Okay, this is called as the feces. So that those germs will enter into the water, and suppose village people, in some villages still it goes on. Suppose that water is taken into the house for drinking purpose, then of course the germs, not only for drinking, even for the clothes and even washing utensils also, same water if you are using, then what will happen, these germs of typhoid will enter into the healthy person's body. So it is due to defecation in the open, that is feces and all throwing away from the person's body, these germs of that person will enter into some other body. It is not only because of this, even sometimes some people have unhygienic habit, that is scratching like this anywhere on and cooking food and all. You can see in the first picture unhygienic cooking. So this way also the person may spread this disease to someone else, which is very dangerous, correct now? So you can see how it is spreading. So this is just one example. Okay, another example, one example I told you of the common cold, this is of the typhoid, which may spread through water. So there are methods where the it can spread in different manners. So let us now learn what are the different mediums of spreading this disease. So we are going to learn first two today, that is the disease, infectious disease is spread by air, spread through air, and second one is spreading through the water. Fine. So let's see now, spread of infectious disease. How are these diseases spread from one person to other? It is spread through air, through water, through food, through insects, and even through direct contact. So let's see now which are the diseases which are spread through air. So if suppose you can see now this person is sneezing and there is another person who is healthy, looks healthy. So you can see how the spit comes out from the mouth of that person and it may enter into the healthy person's body. Okay, fine. So in this way what happens, the germs of the disease like that of influenza means all the flu, common cold, bird flu, swine flu, they are caused by an influenza virus. There is a virus called as influenza virus, and commonly those diseases which are mostly having cough, symptoms like cough or cold, they are mostly called as flu or influenza. Okay, so germs of diseases like influenza are present in the spit or saliva of the person who has the disease. And then what happens, when the person coughs or spits, they enter the air with the tiny droplets of saliva. They enter the air with tiny droplets. That is when you sneeze, you sneeze with lot of force, that the spit comes out in the form of tiny drops, and these tiny drops consist of the microorganism. Suppose these tiny drops enter due to breathing in another person's body, then this person will also get the disease. Okay, so they enter the air with the tiny droplets of saliva or spit, and when other people breathe in that same air, the germs enter their body. I hope so you have understood regarding how the diseases are spread through air, and that is why it is always advisable that whenever you cough or sneeze, you have the habit of coughing or sneezing, you need to always carry a handkerchief with you, so that when you cough or sneeze, you need to cover your mouth. And of course nowadays you are aware that coronavirus, always Mr. Amitabh Bachchan says, do gaj duri mask hai zaruri, like that he says, no? So you should be aware why he is saying that, because of the spread of the disease. Fine. Let's see now the next one, that is the spread of the disease. Okay, now spread of the diseases through air. What type of symptoms you can see here? Okay, diseases of the throat. Okay, diseases of the throat, that means cough and all. Then diseases in which the chest goes on paining due to lot of coughing. Okay, even tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is a very dreadful disease wherein you will find that person coughs for a long time in the sense continuously coughs during the day. And suppose if person coughs like that for more than 15 days, you should be aware that it might be TB. Okay, not only that coughing, but you the person loses his weight, then he has constantly fever, he will be not feeling like eating. Okay, fine. And when he is coughing, the chest pains terribly. Okay, all these are symptoms of TB. And when if it is prolonged for more than 15 days, you need to go to a doctor. Okay, so tuberculosis is also a disease which spreads through air, because when the person coughs, the TB, that is the bacterium called as mycobacterium tuberculosis, can spread in the air through the saliva droplets. Fine, so these are some of the examples. Then even swine flu, once the person gets, okay, swine is infected with the this virus, influenza virus, that is H1N1 virus. Okay, and if you have eaten that swine which is infected, you might get the swine flu, but from one person to another it spreads through air. Okay, so this is also another example of disease spread through air. So that means whenever you're coughing, you have to carry what? Your handkerchief along with you. Fine. So now let's study about the diseases which are spread through water. How water can also spread diseases. Like you can see a scene over here. In this case, you can see that there are so many dirty things going on here. You can see one dog has defecated. Fine, and that might enter through the water inside the river which is flowing here along this this village. Then another lady over here is washing her clothes. A boy is having a bath nicely there. Okay, and the same water is being taken by that girl, you can see, for maybe for drinking purpose, or maybe for washing clothes at home or utensils. Then another person is defecating in the open. Fine. Suppose in this case, this is the condition now. How a disease can spread due to contamination of the water. Now the water has got contaminated with so many things, right? A lot of chemicals also, a lot of germs also must have entered. And suppose these germs are of the disease of the intestines, like intestinal diseases like diarrhea, jaundice, typhoid, cholera. All these diseases, if a person is suffering and it enters through this way, by this way, then what can happen? The healthy person who is now, suppose that girl you can see is taking water to her home. If she carries that water, and if they have a habit of drinking the water without filtering and boiling, then of course the person will get that disease, because that water is contaminated with so many germs. Fine. So the germs of the diseases of the intestinal, these are all intestinal diseases, because water mostly goes into the intestine. Fine. Like typhoid I already mentioned to you. Cholera also I'm going to show you what are the symptoms of the cholera. Diarrhea is also called as loose motions. Okay, loose motions wherein lose lot of water from the body, both in the form of stools, watery stools. Okay, watery stools means this, and that is also called a loose motion, and even vomiting. So the person loses lot of water from the body. That is called as condition called as diarrhea. Okay, commonly called as loose motions. Then of course jaundice. Okay, jaundice is also another dreadful disease wherein you can see the symptoms of the person. Where the person has maybe the person suffering from this disease will have yellow eyes, then yellow nails. Urine also will be yellow all the time, not only sometime but all the time. Urine also will be yellow. Then the stools, normally it is yellow to orange in color, but it will be gray colored stools, I mean this. Fine. Then or the feces, what we call them, that is jaundice. The person will not be able to eat properly, losing his weight, losing his or her weight, or maybe don't feel like eating, that is jaundice. Fine. It is also very dreadful disease if it is not treated on time, and it is the disease of the liver. Okay, it is the disease of the liver. Here the disease liver gets affected. Fine. So that is jaundice. Then let's see now about the cholera. If the feces get mixed with the water, the germs in it also enter the water. Fine. So feces means this. Stools also means this. So I will be using different words. You have to remember. Feces, FAECES, and stools is STOOLS. That is stools. Fine. Now let's see how cholera occurs. You can see this small clip here. You can see the person is vomiting as well as doing feces, and that feces is entered into the water. And suppose the same water, river water, 1 kilometer away, some ladies are taking it for their drinking purpose, or for some household purpose, then what can happen? You know what can happen over here. Then these germs are already there in the water, and then what will happen? Nothing, but even the persons will suffer, other people in the house will suffer from the disease called as cholera. Fine. Let's see now a little further. So this is regarding cholera. Now let's see next one, that is diseases spread through water. Little ahead we'll go. You can see a person, normal person, face is fair, whereas the jaundice patient, you can see yellowing of the face and all, right? Then this is diarrhea, when you get loose motions. Fine. So suppose if another person drinks water which is contaminated by these germs, they enter his intestine, his or her intestine too, and that person can get the disease. Fine. So to prevent the spread of the diseases in this manner, it is advisable, or it is best to avoid washing clothes and bathing in the water sources, or defecating on the banks of the water, etc. So this is the way we can prevent, we can protect the water. We should not allow any person to defecate in the open, in the river, or maybe washing clothes, okay, because it can spread lot of diseases. Okay, so this is regarding the diseases which are spread through air and diseases which are spread through water. So I hope so you have understood regarding the infectious diseases which are caused by germs, that is microorganisms, and they are spread through air and water. Next time we will learn about how the diseases are spread through food. So till then students, bye and thank you.